What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is El Diablo Mexicano bringing you the latest in Killing Floor 2 news. As of yesterday, there's been another update from Tripwire on what to expect, and I believe it's going to be our summer update, so I'm pretty stoked and excited about that. And so today in my little brief video, I'm going to be talking about the new weapons going to be coming out, as well as a new enemy. So let's get this show on the road. For all you Survivalist fans out there, you might have noticed that your melee weapon, your knife, is actually the machete, which comes from the support class. So, to kind of even the odds, Tripwire has decided to finally give you guys your own Survivalist Knife. While this is not the most exciting piece of news that I have today, it'll be nice that the Survivalist will finally get its own knife. And I say that because this perk in particular has been getting a lot of heat from the community. There's a lot of arguments against this perk in general, saying that it's just a hodgepodge of all the other classes and perks and that we shouldn't have this perk to begin with. And, well, the fact that the knife is the machete from the support class just kind of confirms all of this. And so it'll be nice that the Survivalist will finally get its own knife. And according to Tripwire, this will be called the Gore Shiv, and so it looks like a bone shiv and made out of gore fast, from what I'm assuming. But I do think it looks pretty cool. It has a neat design. But now that that's out of the way, let's start moving on to the other exciting things that I have to talk about. The second weapon I'll be talking about is the M99 Anti-Material Rifle. And this was the gun that won the second poll that Tripwire put out not too long ago, and this poll was kind of seeing, like, they were reaching out to the community to see what guns that we wanted to have returned from the first game, and this was the winner of that second poll. Just looking at the design, I gotta say it's a very cool gun. It's very beautiful, it's very sleek, and I love the scope that's mounted on top of it, so I cannot wait to play this gun when it comes out in the second game. If this gun plays if it plays how it did in the first game, that means it's going to be the most powerful gun we have to date. It's going to be more powerful than the railgun. It's going to be very good at taking down Skrakes, Flesh Pounds, and even later, like late game, like boss, so like Hans, the Patriarch, King Flesh Pound, and the Abomination, so it's going to be really good for dealing high amounts of damage. However, on that note, it's probably also going to be the heaviest gun that we have to date. In the first game, in order to balance out the power of the M99, the weapon was also very, very heavy. The only gun you could carry alongside of the M99 was your basic standard 9mm pistol, and that's the gun you start off with and you cannot get rid of no matter what happens. So it's a very powerful gun, but in order to balance it out, they had to make it super, super heavy. While like with Commander, you could have both the Scar and the Fall and deal massive damage with both those tier 4 weapons. For the Sharpshooter, if you chose to take the M99, you could only carry that gun. So you had to use your round sparingly, and you had to take out some of the smaller trash Zeds like your Clots and the Gorefast with your pistol instead. The third weapon on my list is called the Doomstick. This gun is made for support players. Specifically, it's made for the players that love to play with the double-barreled shotgun. And I say that because not only is this gun a modern twist on the double-barreled shotgun design, it has 2 extra barrels mounted on top of it for a total of 4 barrels. So that's 2 times the shells, 2 times the gore, and 2 times the fun. I cannot wait to play with this gun in game. The reason I say that is because when I play support, I love having the double-barreled shotgun, and I love carrying that around with me. It's one of the guns I always have with me because I love the quick reload speed, I love the high damage that it deals, because it does massive damage to Skrakes and Flesh Pounds, and so I love having that gun. It is one of my favorite guns to play with as support. Now, one of my main concerns with the Doomstick, however, is that we already have a double-barreled shotgun design, so I'm a little worried that Tripwire is almost going to do like a copy-paste of the double-barreled shotgun onto the Doomstick, and just adding 2 extra shells on top of it. So I'm a little worried how this is going to play out. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this all goes. One of the things I'm kind of hoping, though, is that Tripwire, instead of just making it a copy-paste of the double-barreled shotgun, I'm hoping that they add it as a Tier 4 alternative to the AA-12. Because when I play it, I don't always have the AA-12. I only carry that with me if we're getting overwhelmed with some of the Clots and the Gore Fast, which is getting overwhelmed with stuff. Then I'll grab the AA-12 when I'm playing with my party. Yet, I don't always grab that because, again, the A12 isn't known for its damage, just dishing out quick shells. So I'm hoping that the Doomstick is, again, I'm hoping that it's going to be an alternative to the Tier 4 AA-12 and allow me to do massive amounts of damage instead of just shooting out shells in the Zeds. The fourth and final weapon is something called the Static Strikers. Much as the name suggests, I'm assuming it is going to be doing electricity damage, something kind of like a taser. Now, I don't know if this gun is going to be focusing on some of the later Zeds like Skrakes and Flesh Pounds, or if it's only going to be good for something like your Cysts, your Clots, your Trash Zeds. I don't know how they're going to be doing this, but I'm kind of excited to see how this goes. The design is interesting, reminds you of something almost kind of like Dead Space. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. Now, I do have an idea where this gun could go, and that's because we've seen something similar to this. We've had another elemental gun, the Freeze Throw, which was released during the last winter update. So I have a feeling that's how it's going to be, and that's because, again, we've seen something similar to this. I have a feeling it's going to be only a survivalist perk weapon, and I say that because as I was saying earlier with the Survivalist Knife, the Gore Shiv, the Survivalist class has been getting a lot of heat because, like I said, people say it's not a real class. They don't really like it because it's just bits and pieces of everything else put together. So I'm hoping that Tripwire is going to have this as a survivalist-only weapon, and that's because I want them to start building on Survivalist class. I want them to make that perk its own thing. And so that, like for starters, I'd be giving them the freeze thrower, the static strikers. So I'm hoping they start doing more elemental weapons and more things kind of like that to make the Survivalist class its own thing rather than just a rip-off of the other classes. The last and final piece of information that I have is regards to the 3 types of enemies that will now be introduced to the game. We just got a character called e.d.a.r, which stands for Domestic Assault Robot, and Tripwire just announced that supposedly that design's been stolen by Hans and Patriarch, and so now we're going to have 3 new types of enemies called e.d.a.rs, which I'm assuming stands for Enemy Domestic Assault Robot. There'll be 3 types of that we know of so far. The first one's going to be a boomer, which kind of like the Patriarch is going to have a rocket launcher on his strap to his back, and he'll be able to kind of shoot rockets at us. The next one will be called the blaster, which is going to have a ranged weapon to shoot pulse rounds at us. I don't know if this means single shots or like rapid fire like a machine gun. I don't quite know how that's going to work, but all I know is he's going to be shooting rounds at us. The last one's going to be a trapper, and he's going to be able to immobilize players by shooting a beam at them and kind of keep them from moving and freeze them in their spots. Again, I don't know what this entails. It could mean that we can't do anything, so we can't shoot, or it could just mean that we can't move, but we can still aim around and shoot around. But either way, those are now 3 new types of enemies that are going to be introduced to the game. Personally, I don't know how I feel about having new robotic enemies in Killing Floor 2. The reason why that is because I'm one of the people who I love the way the fleshy monstrosities feel and look already. I love the bloat, I like the crawler, I love the scrake, the flesh pound. I love how those Zeds look and feel in the game. And I just don't know if having robots thrown into the mix will benefit or make sense of the game. Now, if Tripwire wanted to do, say, maybe like some sort of like robotics level, where we're in a robotics factory, I think that'd be really cool. I think, yes, they should be robotics. I think we should have robots in there. So that would make sense to me. But again, just in the regular vanilla game as it is, with like Burning Paris, Farm, I just don't know if it really makes sense to have e.d.a.rs thrown into with the rest of the Zeds. However, for now, I will support Tripwire, and that's because I do want to see how they implement the robots in the game, but also because I do believe that we need more enemies. At the moment, I'm getting a little bored of what we have already. And so, especially because this is a wave-based game where all you do is kill monsters and Zeds, there's not a big storyline, so they need something else to keep audiences like stuck into the game. And like they need people to keep playing, they need reasons for people to keep playing. And so by adding new monsters and new Zeds and I guess new enemies, it'll add a bit more of a variety and diversity that allows people to want to play the game more, because now it's not just the same faces, but there's constantly updates for the enemies as well. The last thing I do not know about is how these enemies are going to be interacted with in the game. When I say that, we have several types of Zeds. We have our very beginning trash Zeds, like the Clots, the Sis, and the Gorefast. Then we have some of our mid-tier games, where we have like the Husk, the Stalkers, the Siren. Then we have our late-game enemies, like the Scrake and the Fleshpound. I don't know where they're going to fit in terms of that. I don't know if the e.d.a.rs are going to be late game, so if they're going to be tanky and have lots of health and do lots of damage like the Scrake and Fleshpound, or are they going to be kind of like our Husk? We already have a projectile shooting Zed. We have the Husk who shoots flat fireballs at us. Is that how the rocket launcher, the boomer, is that how that e.d.a.r is going to work? He's going to pop up, but he's going to be very quick to kill. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm curious on, because I do think we need bigger Zeds. So personally, for like these enemies in particular, I would like them to be the bigger Zeds. I like them to be added alongside the Scrakes and the Fleshpounds, because we only have 2 of them. We only have 2 big Zeds that deal lots of damage and have high health. So I think it'd be really cool to hear the Fleshpound roar and then some sort of robotic beeping, and then boom, there's a Fleshpound right there, but then there's a trapper spawned right next to him, and he's trapped and now you can't move with a Fleshpound with you. So I think that'd be really cool to add into the mix. However, again, I do not know how this is going to fit into the game, but when I do know, which I'm assuming Tripwire will let us know soon, I will gladly report on and talk about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike, and let me know in the comments why you didn't like it. Other than that, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to me. I need all the love and support I can get. And also, by subscribing to me, it lets you know whenever I post new stuff, whether it's my random moments I have with my friends, or even just Killing Floor 2 news in general, because that seems to be the most popular thing on my channel to date. So again, I really appreciate it, guys. Other than that, hope you have a great rest of your week. Take it easy, and as soon as I know more stuff, I'll let you guys know.